Otherwise, that's a whole different problem.
And we're back. All right, so everybody's loaded up in the cart, and everybody is traveling the road. And for the most part, this is a fairly straightforward experience. Again, the cart moves very quickly, but the road takes care of the bulk of the responsibility of keeping track of the vehicle.
I'll be keeping an eye out with perception to make sure that we're not being banditized.
Certainly. Everybody will be keeping up in perception as I roll these secret perception checks from you. No, that perception doesn't count. My secret perception does.
I forgot about that. That makes me sad. That was a good roll.
All right, so this trip will take... so this vehicle moves at roughly like 60 miles an hour. So this will take you only about 3 hours to get to the capital. This is a very, very fast vehicle, but along with that, there are some specific dangers. Namely, if a giant, fast-moving land shark happens to run into your vehicle, it's a pretty substantial problem.
Fucking dire land sharks.
Let's fucking hope not. I don't know what to do about that shit.
So let's see, it takes a little over an hour
breathing
to get to the mountains. So you get 2 of these. Ooh, fun stuff. That's what I was hoping for.
No land shark.
Let's take a look at some things here
Oh, shit.
about this.
No, like you shouldn't have to look at anything if everything goes smoothly.
Everything is okay. A-okay. A-okay.
Oh, good. Then you don't have to look at anything, and everything is fine, and we're good to go.
Okay, so the 4 of you will notice in the distance as you're whizzing by, like, by the time you reach a certain point, this very large figure starts to notice you in the distance, but by this point, it's like trying to catch up to you as you're like zooming off into the distance ahead towards the mountains.
Does it appear it can catch us?
Oh no, it cannot catch you.
Okay, cool.
Can we tell what it is at all? Or?
Oh yeah, it is this massive, like, almost shark-like creature that has kind of emerged from the ground and started racing in the direction of like where you guys were going to try to cut you off. But you guys just zoom way past it before it gets anywhere within your vicinity.
Thank fucking God.
Oh, you were serious about the land sharks.
It caught a glimpse of you just a little too late. And these things are not regular land sharks. These things are massive, and they're not really sharks, but people refer to them as that because they have these giant fins on their back and these large gaping maws.
It's not so much land as it is like streets.
They do burrow through the ground with their fin above the ground when they're ready to ambush something.
Not to worry, with Gulron at the reins, we're safe.
So, as you get towards the mountains, you will notice that there is the start of a tunnel that is being built through the mountains. This tunnel project has been going on for a long time. Within these mountains do live some of the old hill dwarves, but the hill dwarves have been having a number of arguments about the tunneling. They believe that it shouldn't be a straight run because a straight run takes it right through one of their smaller cities, and they don't believe it's really fair that you just decide that this land is your land and you just get to dig right through it. So a number of years ago, there was a law that was passed that says anything within a certain number of feet of a landmass is not considered to be property of the country of Sierra Savant. It is the property of whatever respective creature lives within that, unless there has been specific steps done to prove that the land is not owned by anyone else. That there's like no pre-existing claim by a species that has existed there for greater than a certain amount of time, and that any work done recently was done with the, making sure of all the right precautions. So the mountains become a bit of a complexity because while they can build hundreds of feet into these mountains, once they get to a certain point, it is now dwarven territory. And the dwarves who have claim over the inside of these mountains, not the externality, but the internality of the mountains, have been really heavily delaying the completion of this tunnel structure.
Dwarves?
The dwarves.
Okay, I thought my bad. I guess I have them confused with the hill giants.
Nope. These dwarves have been like basically protesting and making blockades or building all sorts of like structures, and they refuse to like just go in and have a reasonable conversation about it. And the country has been like unwilling to meet the dwarves' demands, claiming the dwarves are asking for like crazy things. They want to enact tolls upon the place to like gain money back for the space lost. They want people to be under dwarven law so long as they are passing through the tunnels and not be subject to the laws of Sierra Savant. And they want the right to the road itself is remaining their property.
Is this project a national, like a country thing, or is this like more of like the certain city? Or
this is a countrywide thing. So this is the country of Sierra Savant trying to work with the dwarves to make this happen, and it has just been a bureaucratic nightmare.
all of this is, I'm guessing, like regular public knowledge. Then is
that's why I'm giving it to everybody, because it's stuff that like you'll know from experience. It really inhibits travel and trade from the capital, because it means you have to go up and around the mountains, and there is a roadway that goes through the mountains, but you have to be very careful. You can't take the cart at full speed. In fact, some of the functionality that makes the cart move so fast over the roadway does not exist once you get into the mountains, because they have not been able to build the same road structure through the mountain pass, because the mountains at the top, well, they technically still legally belong to Sierra Savant. There are a number of creatures that argue Sierra Savant's right to the mountains. They have no real ability to explain how their arguments are valid, due to a lack of comprehending civility or the structure of a civilized society.
But anyone's willing to go up there and try to argue against them that it's not their land.
Exactly. It's a lot of effort to clean out a lot of angry hill, cloud, and other sorts of giants. And there's the occasional large bird that makes its nest upon the tops of the mountains. And so there's a big reason they want to finish this tunnel, but there's a big reason they're running into difficulties there, and an even bigger reason that travel and transportation are delayed.
What kind of bird?
Lots of kind of birds.
Oh, I thought you meant like a specific. Oh, I thought you meant like a specific bird.
You can
like
give me either a knowledge geography
yeah.
or a knowledge history here.
Oh no. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Did you even roll it, or do you just not have ranks in it?
No, I was looking to see if I had ranks in one of them. I do not. I have ranks in knowledge of nature though.
Okay.
But not quite the same.
Even still, that is a good roll. So you would know that up here there are griffins, there are giant eagles, and there were three. Hold on a sec. Oh, and there are rocks.
Some pretty big birds.
Some pretty big birds. And none of the yellow variety with a friend called Snuffleupagus.
What was the other knowledge that you don't have?
Oh, well, it was either history or geography.
I thought it was history. Okay. Would you ask Brianna, because she might know?
Yeah, if I I would be kind of like mentioning all of this out loud if I'm the one like that's got this knowledge. Kind of trying to like workshop it.
History will tell you not necessarily about the birds, but about some of the other things that tend to exist in the mountains. Not a lot, though. You'll know that some of these land sharks can make it into the lower levels of the mountains. They're a pretty common occurrence here, though they don't usually get up much higher. Same with the hill giants. As you get further up, you start running into stone giants. And then there's one other giant that is up there, but you can't quite remember the details of that giant. Something something like storm or like cloudy or like rainy, or it's hard to remember. There's just so many different types of giant.
They're not naturally occurring things, are they?
Not from a nature perspective, no.
I guess it would probably be like another, like a geography if she's like mentioning this, or like I don't know.
No, I'll give that as the combined checks that you two get from your thing, because geography covers one aspect of things, the other one covers the historical aspect.
I was just trying to like figure out what other giant might be up there, just to prepare mentally.
Yeah, but I think it sounded like you don't have any history, right?
I have the same bonus in history. I mean, I have a +10 to both of them, but I don't have ranks in either of them.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a check. I guess part of this is why I'm willing to give you names and not necessarily details. Okay, from that, you're pretty sure it's cloud giants that are up here?
Do I have any base knowledge of cloud giants at all?
No, I'm not going to give you any of that because you don't have ranks. So I'll give you what they are, but I won't give you details about.
Okay, I'll just try to mention that it's probably a cloud giant. Most likely. And the dwarfs that are in the mountains, it's considered dwarven territory, you said?
The dwarves in the tunnel is dwarven territory. Going over the mountains, it is considered Sierra Savant's territory, but the conflict happens in the birds and the giants that stake their own claim to the land. But don't really stake a claim, they stake a claim through force, not a claim through civility.
Yeah. And the dwarves are the ones that are in the mountains that potentially like can be reasoned with as far as like for safe passage and so on and so forth.
Yes, right? You could potentially try to go in and discuss things with the dwarves, and maybe they have some alternative path. Maybe from the digging they've already ran this tunnel into something, but you don't know exactly how deep the tunnel runs. So you could like go in and see if there's some other route that might be there. But if there is none, you'd have to back out and go back up the mountain anyway.
Yeah, but if we're trying to reason our way through anything, that would be the course of action. That would probably be
potentially.
I don't think that the hill giants are going to be as willing to reason with us from the sounds of what I've been told anyways.
Negotiation doesn't sound like it's their forte, no.
Yeah.
So what is the path that the four of you will choose?
Well, I say we have a dwarf. We have a dwarf in our party. We should take our chances with the dwarves.
I thought you called me racist, Brianna. Not all dwarves are alike, but I agree. I haven't seen my brethren in some time.
It does ultimately seem like a safer passage and more possibility of reasoning with them, and that is probably one of our stronger suits rather than trying to fight off hill giants and rocks, so on and so forth.
Let's go see my mighty people.
Okay.
And on the way, I'm going to kind of try to like mentally go over the legality of the situation that's going on with the dwarves.
All right. So the four of you make your way into the tunnel.
Last session was the session we leveled up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here.
I was just curious because I didn't like. Because I realized I did not pull my ranks in knowledge law like I had intended and put it in something else, and I didn't know if it would be possible to change that.
All right. The four of you are making your way through the tunnel. Things start getting rather dark as you move into this tunnel. A lot of the lighting has not been finished yet in here. So there's not really a lot to keep things bright. There's just the light of the entrance with the occasional sparse little ever-burning light upon the walls periodically. But at a certain point, things do start to get very, very dark.
Great.
I mean, we can cast spells while we're on here, right?
Yeah, you can.
I'll cast light on... I don't know what's going to be holding. I guess I'll just, like, throw it onto my shield.
Okay.
I would also cast light on one of the pebbles that I carry with me and put it in my lantern.
Okay.
I do not have light.
Something set up here. And yeah. As you're moving about the tunnels and you turn on your light, you'll notice that there is a pretty substantial size hole in like the bottom area of the tunnel that you're in. It looks as if something has kind of like broken its way through kind of the bottom floor corner. And it's a hole like wide enough that like a fairly large creature could fit through. Something like as large as maybe a giant could have moved its way through there. And this is really present to Gulran, Brianna, and Elizabeth. It's very clear how large this is. Antaeus, your view is kind of ahead on things. You're not really looking about at the moment. You're more worried about what could be in the darkness ahead. But the three of you notice this big hole in the ground as you start to move by. And as you move by, you will sense, or you will see.
It will sense with its tremor sense.
No, it is making a stealth check at a very, very piss poor roll. You will notice a large spider-like creature with a humanoid face, but mandibles coming out of its mouth, staring out of the darkness at you. And I am going to need everyone to roll initiative.
I use my free action to take 10 of my initiative.
What? What ability is this?
Alert to trait.
All right, remember that as a trait. Is that like a once per day thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So roll yourself in, and then.
Thank God.
You called that 100% right. Let me roll this up. So I don't have a mat for this one. I really botched it on getting encounter stuff prepped for this session, but I don't really think we need it. It is one single drider in a cave. You are on the cart heading through the tunnels. The tunnels are about 60 feet wide, so there is plenty of room for people to move about. I'll kind of draw one out for you guys. And let me break this out real quick and move us into some combat music.
I mean, you don't have to.
Oh, I do have to. All right, so what we have here, let's go ahead and create a new one of these. Let me set some parameters on it real quick. This and this and that's completely wrong. Why did it reset this? Piece of shit. Let's do background with that on top. Go. All right, so you are all heading through. Bring you over here. So you are all heading through this tunnelway, and let's go ahead and draw some lines here.
Also, I don't know if it's just me, but the turn order thing seemed to have gone away.
It's still there,
but it's empty.
Yeah, it's actually still there, and the stuff is still populated. I don't know why it does this, but It is actually still there.
We
As long
can't
as-
save it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's still there for you, that's all that really matters.
Ah! Forgot it does that. Get in a straighter line. Straighter! Alright. Let me get you a cart. And your characters. That is the wrong place to be doing this. I really wish I would have prepped this properly.
I mean, you could take a few minutes and prep him more, and I could go put a baby to bed.
Alright, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take
'Cause
another...
she's been extremely grumpy, so that would make this combat go a lot easier for me.
Yeah, let's take another far too early break as we've been keeping that tradition up tonight, and we'll be back shortly.